the ego's game and how to stop playing it. There's a voice in your head that works very hard. It compares, it competes, it keeps score. It's rehearsing what to say, replaying what was said, defending its reputation even in rooms where no one is watching. That voice has a name. And understanding it, really understanding it, is one of the most liberating things you will ever do. Let's call it what it is, the ego. Not in the casual sense, not just meaning arrogance or self-importance. In the deeper sense, the ego is the image of yourself you have built and now feel compelled to protect. It's the idea of who you are assembled from childhood impressions, other people's reactions, wounds, wins, comparisons, and fear. The ego is not bad, it was necessary. But it was never meant to run the show. The ego sees others as competitors. It needs to be right. It needs to be sane. It needs to be approved of constantly because it cannot generate its own sense of worth. That's the thing almost no one tells you. The ego is desperate in a way that is invisible from the outside. Underneath the confidence, the performance, the perfectly managed appearance, there is an anxious engine working non-stop to keep things looking a certain way. And you feel that exhaustion, you've felt it for years. Because the ego mistakes the map for the territory. It confuses reputation with identity. It confuses achievement with worth. It confuses other people's opinions with truth. So when someone criticizes you, even gently, it feels like an attack on your existence. When you fail at something, even something small, it feels like evidence that you are not enough. When someone else succeeds, even someone you love, the ego flinches. None of this is who you actually are. It is what happens when you've handed the steering wheel to a frightened, comparison-obsessed part of your mind and forgotten that you were ever the driver. So how do you take the wheel back? Not by fighting the ego, fighting it just gives it more energy. Not by shamming it, that's just the ego attacking itself. You begin by observing it. When you catch yourself rehearsing a conversation that hasn't happened yet, notice. When you feel a spike of defensiveness because someone didn't respond the way you hoped, notice. When you edit yourself before you speak because you're afraid of how it will land, notice. You are not those impulses. You are the one noticing them. And in that gap, that tiny space between the impulse and the response, lives your actual freedom. This is what changes when the ego loosens its grip. You stop making every interaction about how you appear. You stop holding back your real thoughts to manage someone else's reaction. You stop measuring your worth by external outcomes. Not because you stop caring about quality or connection, but because you've found something inside that doesn't need the world's validation to feel real. The deeper self, the one we began to explore in the last video, doesn't compete. It doesn't need to. It doesn't gossip because it has nothing to prove. It doesn't shrink because it has nothing to lose. It acts from love, from values, from genuine care, not from the fear of how things will look. People who have touched this, even briefly, describe it the same way. They say, it felt like putting down something incredibly heavy I didn't even know I was carrying. That is available to you. Not as an achievement. Not at the end of some long, difficult process. It begins the moment you decide, I am not the image, I am the one behind it. Next video, we take this even further, into the question of what you're really here to do. Because once the ego quiets, something extraordinary rises in its place. A sense of purpose so specific, so undeniable, it changes what you reach for, what you build, and how you spend your days. Subscribe and press the bell icon, because your purpose is closer than you think, and the next video is going to make that very clear.